Puerto Rico looks set to miss a major debt payment due on Monday. That's after the island nation failed to find a political solution to its spiraling public debt crisis. Now, Puerto Rico owes investors about $70 billion. On Monday, a $422 million payment becomes due, but the government is unable to settle it. Now, since Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory, the Obama administration has been working on a debt restructuring bill, but the U.S. Congress has so far been unable to pass the bill. Officials say it could have harmful consequences for residents on the island and beyond. Well, for more on this, let's speak to TRT World's business producer, Azhar Sukri. So, Azhar, how did they get into this mess and what are they going to do?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. They've defaulted on other debts so far, but this is by far the most serious. Look, the economy of Puerto Rico has been in a depression for most of the last 10 years. It's got a population of about 3.5 million people. That population has been in decline for about 5 years now, and that rate of decline is actually accelerating. It's no surprise, really. About half the population lives in poverty at the moment. But this default is the most serious yet. It's also the biggest, but it's not quite as serious as it could get. So this debt was backed by the Government Development Bank. It's a state-owned bank, but it's not quite the state yet. But look, other parts of the US have defaulted in the past. California in 2009 issued IOUs when it couldn't service its debts. But because it's a full-fledged state, it was able to fend off its creditors. And then Detroit in 2013, it essentially went bankrupt, went into bankruptcy protection under the US law. It got government bailouts, and now it's doing really well. Puerto Rico is not in that position. It doesn't get the same kinds of protections that these other places do.
I suppose one of the problems is, as you said, the flight of people from Puerto Rico. There were some stats I was reading earlier that 280 people are leaving a day. I mean, it's just huge numbers. So what happens to the island now, and what happens to the economy?
Yeah. This debt default, as I mentioned, was not the most severe that it could be. July the 1st is going to be the date to watch out for. $2 billion worth of debt become due on that day. 800 million of that is guaranteed by the Puerto Rico Constitution. If Puerto Rico defaults on that, that will automatically trigger a whole load of lawsuits, which effectively would mean freezing of Puerto Rico's assets. That in turn will mean that Puerto Rico will not be able to pay government servants. It won't be able to pay for basic services. So far, the governor, Mr. Padilla, has been fending off this prospect by keeping those payments going and defaulting on debt. But come July 1st, it may not have that option.
So crunch time is coming. Well, we'll keep an eye on it. Azhar, thanks for coming out.